You look familiar.
Yeah, so do you.
Didn't we meet at Pinewood?
Yes, we did.
Ah, it must be Lindsay Harris.
Yes, Richard James as well.
Lindsay, welcome to the Gerry Anderson Podcast.
Thank you.
So nice to see you after all these years.
Wow. Long time ago.
I know. I mean, we did meet once under very sad circumstances at Richard Gregory's funeral.
Yes.
Which we'll talk about, of course.
I'm pleased to say that it's happier circumstances today. Yes.
Now, of course, we'll be mentioning Richard and many other people that you were very heavily involved with.
Massively, yeah.
For quite a part of your career.
Yeah.
Not just Space Precinct, but beyond.
Yeah. Massive part, yeah.
You're also one of the few people that you're sort of kind of a link also between the veterans from the Gerry Anderson universe, because I remember on Space Precinct we had the likes of Christine Glanville,
yes,
who you had a working relationship with, more than I did in a way.
Yeah.
But we'll be talking about your role on Space Precinct a bit later on. So we're here primarily to talk about Gerry Anderson's stuff.
Yeah.
But what were you watching as a kid?
Well, I was obviously watching Gerry Anderson stuff.
Really?
Which I thought was just fantastic.
Yeah. What's your first kind of glimmerings of watching Gerry Anderson?
Well, I just remember, obviously, Thunderbird 2.
Ah.
But also, I just remember very vividly the Stingray intro.
Ah, the theme music.
And the fish... coming out and Stingray like chasing after it was just like, wow.
Yeah, great. Something about it obviously caught your imagination.
Yeah, and it was just like, wow, this is so different.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, because I watched it, obviously when I was watching it, it was the second time round.
Yes, you're
so
not quite that old. No, I know, yes.
But, so yeah, I remember that, and I remember... this handsome chap.
Yeah,
Like the most handsome guy you're ever going to meet is Captain Scarlet.
Don't tell Wayne Forrester that. Who ended up voicing him, of course.
Yes. Well, I still was talking about Wayne, but no.
Yes, of course.
I mean, he's like so vivid in my memory as well as a kid, and just brilliant.
Very often with our guests, there's a kind of a sense of nostalgia when they look back on the old stuff, because it was very much a family time to sit down. Yeah. Was that the case with you, to sit down and watch Gerry Anderson, or was it more of a solitary...
Because it was sort of like one of those things that I was so young when it sort of, indelibly imprinted itself on my brain. I kind of sort of remember my brother being around.
Right.
But then it was like, because it was like that the first time round, and then it sort of came on again a bit later on in the 70s.
Yeah.
And it was like on a Sunday, it was Thunderbirds. And it was like, my dad was like, I was always like, we're going to go and watch Thunderbirds, It was like, and it'd be like, I was allowed not to sit up at the table and have Sunday dinner with everybody. I was allowed to go and see Thunderbirds because everybody knew how important it was for me to see it.
Yeah, nice.
But also I did, I think at that time when I was really young, and there was a lot of the Ray Harryhausen shows and stuff like that. And also I was really into like the $6 Million Man.
Right.
But I think that was kind of because of this guy, because he was like indestructible.
Very similar, absolutely right.
And he was kind of indestructible as well.
That's right, yeah. And was it the puppetry? I mean, you mentioned the Ray Harryhausen stuff, obviously the Gerry Anderson stuff.
I think it was that also, and it was the sort of, it was a different world. Yeah. It wasn't kind of reality. Yeah. It wasn't too fantasy. Yeah. It was a kind of, me and a friend when I was a kid, we used to call it sci-fact.
Sci-fact.
Yeah, because it was just like, it was believable, but
true.
It was like,
Yeah, it's like the day after tomorrow, isn't it? That's when
it was set. Like, and now I'm like, why aren't we driving around SPVs and...
Yeah, I know. It'll forever be a disappointment, won't it?
So, that was kind of where I was with that. And it was always something a little bit... I like things a little just different. Yeah. Something that was a little bit different. Yeah. That always kind of... Yeah, caught my attention, I think. Because I think the Ray Harryhausen stuff was sort of like swashbuckling adventure. Thunderbirds was like great because it was like, and you think, what a fantastic, because the family unit was really important. Yeah. And the fact that they had these incredible machines and they were like mega professional.
That's right, yeah.
About it, and they had this sort of secret organisation, so it's a bit James Bond as well.
Yeah.
But also the family kind of side of it was really, it was like the grandma was like always looking after everybody. The dad was like in charge.
Yes.
All the sons were like,
Yeah.
always respectful.
That's right.
And they were like,
interesting.
Yes, Father. No, and they'd always like, he'd go, do this, and they were, yes, Father. And, and then obviously he had Brains and Lady Penelope. And it was a great format. Yeah. And, he was like this, it was sort of grim and creepy, but it wasn't like this, it was sort of epic, but it was kind of down little sort of back alleyways and kind of
exactly
this sort of creepy sort of thing going on, but it was all sort of underhand and under the.
Well, people are often surprised quite how dark Captain Scarlet gets, and as a concept itself, it's quite a dark.
It's a really
idea,
grim concept, isn't it? It's
That's
to be
right.
sort of invaded by reanimated corpses.
Yes.
And,
yes. It's a kid show.
Yeah, and again, I thought that was, as a kid, I loved it because it was, obviously, it was really sort of gritty and kind of, really sort of. But it was, again, it's like all these things, isn't it? I think if you've got a really good antagonist, that's where you start. And again, with Thunderbirds, with the Hood, and his Corona's brother, Captain Scarlet, you've got a phenomenal like nemesis, and that makes the main protagonist even better, because there's no margin for error, And again, sometimes in Captain Scarlet, they used to kind of lose, didn't they? They used to
that's right. Yes, exactly.
They
didn't always win the day.
Yeah, it didn't always. But,
Well, we're going to put your memory to the test because we're going to play a little game called Super Identification. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you some very quick clips, really quick clips of each one of Gerry's series, from the opening credits of each one of his series. Okay, the opening titles. And when you see one that you know, shout it out. Okay. Let's see how many you get out of the 18, 19 series that he made between 57 and 2006. So let's see how you go. Number 1. It's very early days.
That's Twizzle.
Yes. Number 2 coming up.
That's Torchy.
Yes.
That's Four Feather Falls.
It is. Yeah, very good.
Supercar.
I mean, a lot of people struggle with these early ones.
Fireball XL5.
Yeah.
Stand by for action.
Stingray.
That's like,
doesn't get any better than that.
No.
Thunderbirds. Captain Scarlet.
I think you might be on a roll.
Joe 19.
Yeah.
Secret Service.
Yes.
That's UFO. That's the Protectors.
Very good. Well done.
Space 1999.
Yes.
This is an emergency.
Terrorhawks.
Here we go into the 80s.
I love that show. That's Stick Spanner.
Yes.
That's obviously
I wonder,
Space Precinct.
what could it be?
That's Lavender Castle.
Very good.
Right across the universe.
And finally,
New Captain Scarlet.
yes. Well. I mean, I would have expected you to have got at least one of those because you worked on it. But you got the maximum score.
Wow,
18
really? Oh my God.
Out of 18.
That's me when I was like 24.
That's quite an old picture, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you're a very difficult man to find online, Lindsay.
Oh, wow, there you go.
That's the only picture I could find. Wow. So there you go. Well, 18 is a full house.
Oh, wow, cool.
As you'll see, now we started again in the new year, so here are some of our more recent guests.
Right, wow.
Sharon Mansfield, you might recognise, of course,
Yes,
has come to join us.
Yeah.
So 18.
17.
Yeah, 17 is not bad, is it? But 18 can't be beaten. So that's the signs of a misspent youth, I would say.
Well, I just,
Yes.
and once you see it, you know.
That's right.
It's,
Exactly.
It's indelibly imprinted on your brain.
So do you remember the moment where the light bulb came on in your mind that you might be able to work in this world?
Yeah.
And make shows like that?
I think it was like the Thunderbirds. I think Joe 19 stuff was coming along as well. And I was like, it was that kind of world of like, wow, this is like sort of models.
Yes.
And, and I got that kind of idea.
Uh-huh. Were you a great model maker at home? Did you have all the Airfix kits?
We always used to have Airfix kits on the go. I used to get a kit and then I'd be disappointed how small it was,
Yes, right.
It was that kind of time. And then I was sort of there was like Space 1999, and the Eagles came out.
Yeah, yeah.
And the kits of those came out.
Yeah.
And they were, you look at that and you go, well, that's why aren't we going to the moon in these? Instead of the shuttle
cool.
and
that's right.
rockets and
and
then this sort of Star Wars came out, and I think I saw a making of Star Wars, and it showed all all behind the scenes and models and all the creature stuff, and I was like, wow, this is, I'd like to do this sort of thing.
Never in front of the camera. Never crossed your mind to.
Wow.
Do you think?
Not really. I suppose it was anything to do with that kind of world. Like sort of creating a fantasy kind of world, really.
And then what was your way in then? How did you?
Well, it was a little bit later because I sort of, and then I watched The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And I watched the making of that, and then I was like, wow, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then. I suppose when I was about 14, 15, I was at college. I was doing drama at college, so I was a little bit, But and then I think I got the Yellow Pages out, and I thought, I wonder if there's any film studios in sort of Oxfordshire where I lived at the time. And there was a company called Oxford Scientific Films, and because I have dyslexia, and I used to ring them up and say, "Can I?" And they'd be, "Oh, you have to write a." So I was like,
that's a stumbling block.
And then it was like 4 or 5 times I did this, and it was like, "No, you really need to write. Is this Lindsay again?" It's like you really, and I was like, "Okay." And then I got one of the tutors at college. I was about 15 then, to help me write a letter to Oxford Scientific Films, and I wrote them a letter.
Yeah.
Can I come and do some work experience or whatever? And they went, yeah. And I was like, and then I was there.
I see. Okay. So what sort of stuff are you making for that? Was it like corporate stuff or educational?
Well, it was really good because they did feature films.
Wow.
They did, it was feature films. They did a stills library. They did a film library. Right. They did a natural history department. Yeah. And they did a commercials department all in one.
Amazing.
I was like, wow, this is like, I'm working at ILM.
Yeah. Yes.
So
exactly.
I went there, and there's a guy there called Archie Ruff, and I sort of worked with him. And then obviously the first day I was there, I met Richard Gregory.
Right, really. I see.
And he was, I was 15 and he was about 30.
Yeah.
So there's a big age, but it was like, he sort of immediately somehow sort of took me under his wing.
Yeah.
And we were working on these two feature films. I can't remember one of them, but the other one was called Pulse.
Right.
And it was like where the sort of electronics took over or something, and we did all these little macro photography and stuff like that. And the other one, we did a load of underwater stuff.
Okay, yeah. In a big tank somewhere? Or,
it was like a 70 by 20 water tank.
Yeah, amazing.
And it was like, like I said, I thought, wow, I'm at ILM here. It was like, which it wasn't.
Yeah. But it felt like it.
Yeah, it felt like
Absolutely.
it because it was just incredible, and they had a workshop there and all that sort of stuff. And, we were building these big, it was like a big lock or a key or something we were doing. And I was amazed. They got all these fiberglass wooden beams and stuff like that. Yeah. And there was part of it that was like, they got all this green fur.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's this then? I was like, that's like the little bits of seaweed and stuff. And they, glued it all in. And of course, when it was underwater, it all sort of moved.
Yeah. Perfect.
It was amazing.
Very good.
So I started there, and then I started doing commercials.
I see. Still under sort of Richard's wing?
Well,
or?
I was sort of there with Richard on certain projects. Yeah. There's another guy, Gerry Harris, that was there, and a couple of others. Mm-hmm. But it was all really, a really good environment to be that young and...
Yeah, absolutely right.
And people kind of like...
An experience that would probably be quite difficult to come by these days. It strikes me it's much harder to get in through the door, isn't it?
It's like now you have to have so many,
And there are so many people applying, of course, for so few.
Yeah, but I think also there's not really, it's like practicality of stuff, and it's very difficult to... Yeah. It seems like a very sort of email this, email that kind of
Yes,
world,
and never get a reply, of course. That's the thing. Okay, well, we'll talk about how you then came to be involved with Space Precinct from those early days. But before we do that, let's have a look at your first Anderson memory, and let's have a chat about this. Take a look here.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's the stuff of nightmares, isn't it, really?
It is. I mean, it's like heart-pounding stuff now, isn't it? But I think it just really stuck with me so much.
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, it's nightmare fuel, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like
trapped underwater.
And his air's going.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's trying to open his leg on this big clam thing. I so remember that so vividly.
Really?
Yeah, it was like, you know, these things, they just really stick in your mind, and that was one of them.
Yeah, it's usually the moments of horror or terror that stick in the mind. We never remember the funny bits or the sweet bits, do we?
Just like the thought of being stuck down at the bottom of the ocean, your air running out, and you got a massive clam on your leg.
Yes.
It was just like, how... And then again, it's always that thing, is just like, you know, I watch it now and you think it's just, you know, the kind of Hitchcockian way it's shot, you know, and the close up of the thing.
Absolutely.
And you're just like, wow, and you know, as a little kid, it was just like, you know, it was like horrifying.
Yeah, I mean, it's very often said that Gerry Anderson, that he never spoke down to kids. You know, they made like movies for adults.
This guy never,
that's right, exactly.
It was like...
So were you aware when you were watching things like Joe 90 that it was part of a larger stable of work from the same production company?
I think it was kind of... Because I remember also there was like a Joe 90 book, and we had that.
Oh, yeah.
And somehow in my head, I was like, well, these are real people, aren't they? This is real.
Yeah.
You know, because the puppets were so good. I mean, Joe 90's head is probably about that big or something, you know, and it's just like the detail that was in it was incredible. And I literally, I think it was like a Joe 90 pamphlet or something, or it was like a little, you know, summer special or something like that, or an annual. Yeah. And the photographs, I was like, well, these are... My brother was like, no, they're puppets. I was like, no, they're not.
What do you mean?
They're real.
They're clearly not puppets.
I hadn't seen, you know, I hadn't seen it then, but then, you know, when I started watching it, it was like, wow, this is amazing, you know.
Yeah, because your imagination does the rest, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it does, you know. And again, I sort of, obviously, you know, seen Thunderbirds and that, but again, it was done in such a sort of way, it just kind of... It all flowed, and you didn't really... It wasn't like, oh, well, it's a puppet show, or it's this or that. It was just, you know, as soon as you saw that style, it was like... And then I think it was like that linked together. And then I think I was on holiday in Hastings.
Right.
And I vividly remember this as well, that I found a Fireball XL5 annual.
Okay.
In this little sort of dusty shop, and it was like, wow, this is really good. And then I was like, and my mum and dad bought it, and then I sort of was like, on the way home looking at this book, I thought, this is really weird. These characters look a bit like Thunderbirds.
Right. Yes.
And then I see, and it was like, found out that obviously, there was like Fireball XL5 and all the other,
and so much more. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I suppose at that time it was like, I don't think they ever really aired Twizzle and Torchy back in the 70s, early 70s.
No, I'm not sure they did. No, that's right.
But then there was like obviously Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet and Joe 90.
Or the colour series, basically. Yeah, that's right.
And Stingray, obviously.
Yeah, that's right. Now, before we come on to questions from our viewers and listeners, let's talk about Space Precinct then. Yes. Let's talk about when did you first... Actually, it was called Space Police, wasn't it, originally? When did you first hear the word Space Police?
Well, I think... I was at Oxford Scientific Films then.
Yeah.
And Greg was talking about Space Police.
Yeah. And we're talking sort of 93, 94, I guess, just before it got off the ground?
Well, I think it was after, because it had been made then.
The pilot?
Yes.
Yes, got you, right.
Yes. or a bit later. I can't remember, but then there was this sort of rumblings of this, and then it I don't think it was it. It sort of they did the pilot, and I don't think they aired the pilot even.
Yeah.
And then Greg was sort of, and I'd been with Greg on a few things with Gerry, and we did I think it was like a Top Gear thing. And he said, "Oh, do you want to come and puppeteer Lady Penelope?" And I was like,
"Right,
oh, okay, yeah,
wow."
And it was like doing, because Christine was there, and I was doing that because I think we'd changed all the solenoids for. Greg had changed them for RC.
Okay.
So they were little servo-operated mouths.
Ah, I see.
And he said, "Do you want to come and..."
Nice.
So then that was like, I'd never done it before.
Yeah.
It was like, you had the script, and it was like, and obviously trying to get the punctuation right and all that sort of stuff. So we did that.
Yeah.
And then we'd done a couple of other things. We'd done the... what did I say earlier? The... Calling Elvis video.
So you were involved with that as well?
Yeah, so
I
we worked
see.
on that. Then, and also we'd done the Thunderbirds FAB Next Generation.
Yep.
Greg had worked
the
on
models for the hits.
I'd helped Greg with those.
Yes.
And then I think we'd done the Blue Peter thing, and it was all sort of all the time.
Yeah.
Greg was talking about this Space Police, Space Precinct thing, and then we were working at Crawley Creatures with Gerry Harris, and then he started sort of doing this sculpt to this two-eyed crayon thing.
Yes.
And I was like, and he's sort of gone, because this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to split that there, put this bit here, and I was like, wow, this is going to be really, And he bought he got some leather biker stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think they were going to do a test thing with it. And then that sort of went away for a little bit, and then it sort of came back, and then he was like, this Space Precinct, Space Police thing, might go, do you want in on it? I was like, yeah.
Do I?
And this was like, and it took quite a long time from then we ended up doing we did a test stuff we did.
Right.
And then that was put into the old series.
Yes, and they made a kind of a rebooted version of the
it was
pilot,
like a redux
mini
or rebooted version of it.
I see.
And Greg had sort of...
With the likes of Rob Thurtle and Andy Dawson,
I think it was Rob Thurtle and Andy Dawson.
Yeah.
And I think Rob was the crayon.
That's it.
Which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
And Andy did the tar.
That's right.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And we did that.
So what was your role on that? What were you operating then, or just sculpting?
I did do some operating, but I think I was just helping out in general, and sort of doing the makeup and stuff, helping with that and little, prosade and...
Yeah, prosade. There's a word I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah, prosade,
Yeah, the glue.
Stickiest stuff on the planet.
Horrible, yeah.
And then I don't think I was there that day, but Greg was saying... It was just him and Gerry Anderson in a room, and I was literally waiting for the phone to ring. And then it did, and Gerry put the phone down. It was like, I said, we've got to make the thing now.
Blimey.
So it was and then it was because we were in a little shed by the Bond stage, I think. And then, and then we sort of, I think it was a few weeks, and then we sort of moved into there was one just outside M stage.
Right.
It was a big workshop.
Yeah.
And we set up in there.
Yeah.
And then you guys started coming in. We're doing live casts and stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we'll talk more about your experience working on the series, of course. But for now, I'm going to dive into our Space 1999 lunchbox and ask you some questions from our viewers and listeners.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to take a handful of these. That'll do for this week. Let's see how we go.
That's a very loved lunchbox.
Isn't it? It's great, isn't it? We all want one. Okay, so first of all, we have Steve Bushell.
Hello, Steve Bushell.
And Steve says, hi, Lindsay, welcome to the best podcast on the airways.
There you go.
He obviously thinks you were going to be a guest on some other podcast somewhere. Now, what was the most challenging aspect of operating animatronics on Space Precinct? And did you have any particularly memorable experiences working with Gerry Anderson on the show? Thank you, from Steve. So what were the most challenging aspects of working on the series?
I think the most challenging thing was obviously
the actors.
Well, no, yeah.
Looking at me.
Well, actually, you guys were very good, actually. Was the getting the eyes and everything, and you're acting and kind of like, synced all together, because sometimes you'd sort of be, you'd be going that way and I'd be looking over that way, be going, oh, right, okay, well, so we're over this way. So then and obviously sometimes as well, when you were sort of coming toward, you'd be doing a left movement or whatever, and then obviously when somebody comes the opposite way, you have to go the opposite way and things like that.
That's right, of course, yeah.
It's getting all the eyes moving in the right direction. And like I said, sometimes you'd be like coming towards us, and you do the eye, and then you obviously, and then you go away, and you're all right. Which way is it?
They swap round now. Yeah, that's right.
So,
and the thing is, of course, that. We had very little rehearsal time, and we had sort of a camera rehearsal, really, and that was it. Then we
didn't
shoot
really
the
have any time at all.
But I remember we used to kind of take whatever time we could to at least discuss.
Yes.
If there were particular moments that we thought should be marked, we'd come to you and say, Lindsay, what do you think? I think I'd be surprised at this, or whatever it might be.
There or something.
That's
like
right,
that,
exactly. But what was so enthralling about it was kind of like two performances melding together to become one, wasn't it? I always felt.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously you guys were leading, but we were just sort of trying to, with the mask, emphasise what you were, and trying to sort of either, not too much and not too little, and because I think the first couple of weeks were quite difficult.
I was going to say, was there an element of learning on the job?
Yeah, it was, and it was like the first couple of weeks was a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
It was like, how many blinks is too many blinks, and what, and and obviously you'd sort of be looking at you or the actor or whatever was, and you'd do, and it's like, it doesn't quite read on where the camera is.
That's right.
So the first couple of weeks was
baptism of fire, really, for all of us.
And like you said, we didn't have, it was like literally, off you go.
That's right. Yeah, amazing.
Take one, and then it was like,
that's it. Did we not get another go?
It was.
This is Simpsons Clips, who says, "Hi Lindsay.
Hi Simpsons Clips.
If there were to be some sort of Space Precinct theme park ride, would you be willing to operate the animatronics for that?"
Yes, absolutely.
A police cruiser ride, maybe?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool, that'd be all right, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Did you ever sit in one of those?
I did. Who didn't?
They were cool, weren't they?
They were great. They were really good.
From memory, we had a full size, just the one, I think, that they used to wheel in.
Yeah, and then there was. I can remember there was one in one of the episodes where I think there was like you, Lou, Wayne, and somebody else all crammed into this.
I know. Yeah, crazy. Oh, that's right. That's probably.
And there was like, I think it was like a. Was that the one that was like an 8?
Yeah, there's well in.
That's right. It. So there's like Rob as well. And there was like, everybody was crammed into this little cruiser thing.
There wasn't an awful lot of room in there, was there, particularly in the back?
And then again, it was like, trying to get the leads not showing and batteries.
Yes. And I remember, wasn't there sometimes there's kind of a certain amount of interference if there were too many of them going at the same time?
Yeah, because you have a crystal, you have 2 crystals, one in the RC
unit,
and one in the receiver. And then sometimes the crystals or whatever used to, and you'd all be going,
glitching.
Don't do that. It's like, no, we've got a bit of a problem. We'll sort it out. So.
Simon Frisbee says, "Hi Lindsay, thanks for doing the podcast. There's lots of talk about physical special effects and models being a dying art form, what with CGI. Do you think there's hope that physical work will carry on into the future?"
I hope it does. I really hope it does, because I personally, I don't think you can beat it. I think for like when we did like Space Precinct, you can't beat a creature on someone's, and acting and and now, I mean, the servos and everything, they're like microscopic now. Then they were like
that's
big,
right, and noisy too. I remember
this big,
incredible. And finally, for now, Rich Goodborn says, if Space Precinct was to be made today, would CGI be needed to assist with the animatronics like the Henson Company did for the Dark Crystal miniseries? So would it look different today, do you think, if we made the series now 30 years later?
I think it would. Obviously, we could make improvements on it because of the technology we've got. But I think, again, it all is a basis of a good performance and a good symbiotic kind of, animatronics. And then, if it needs enhancing with digital, fantastic. But I think it's like digital is a tool in the box.
Yes,
it's
right.
not a, because I think a lot of things, like if you'd have done like Orin or whatever, completely CG, it kind of just, you have to have an eye for it or a feel for it, because I think sometimes when they do the CGI, they have never done practical effects.
Right, sure thing.
And, and again, like Phil Tippett, who, did all the stop motion stuff on the Star Wars films and that, he then was a supervisor on doing all the dinosaur stuff, which went CG. So
yes.
Got to have somebody with an eye for it.
Yeah, and a grounding in the real world, in the real practical.
Because it's that thing, you just like, it's trying to, again, it's the fantastic CGI stuff. I still think you can't quite get the look and the sheen on things, and, it just doesn't quite work. And I think a massive thing is the eyes. When you've got CGIs, they're just dead.
Yeah.
And I think even like because the eyes that were on, obviously the crayons and that, they were, and the times they were like sort of specifically, artwork.
Yes, hand painted, weren't they?
Hand painted,
that's right,
and then they were Dremeled, and and they had real depth, and and obviously then we used to go in there with a little bit of oil and get all the gloss.
That's it. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
glossing your lips
that's
up.
It.
And all that
Yeah. We talked about your beginnings in the industry.
Yeah.
And how you met Richard Gregory first of all, working at at Oxford, and then how that then led eventually onto Space Precinct.
Yes.
A huge new production from Gerry Anderson. Do you remember the buzz that was around at the time?
I did. And I was like, again, it was like L&M block.
Huge.
It was just perfect.
Do you remember the first time you walked around those sets?
Yep.
The police station and the broker's house.
Yeah, and again, like the police cruiser was really cool. And
and
I remember, I think it was outside our workshop, there was a bit where there was a little building, not a building, but like a little, I suppose like one of those little school huts.
Yeah.
And I think there was a bit where one of the model effects kind of blended in with that, and there was like a cruiser crashes into it, and all these chickens come out.
Right.
And then we did the outside exterior there, which was just outside the workshop.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was like, because I thought, still now that block is, you just like, there's the stages.
Yeah.
There's the offices downstairs.
Yeah.
There's all the actors and makeup rooms and stuff upstairs. It was absolutely perfect.
I mean, certainly from my point of view, it was kind of unique in that we were all under that same roof. We were like a little village, weren't we, for a year?
I would say it was kind of just promoted a really good kind of little sort of, for want of a better word, kind of family feel. You know?
That's right.
We'd all, at lunchtime, we'd all kind of
go to the
congregate
pub.
or whatever, or go to the pub or whatever.
I do remember towards the end of that year, we kind of threw caution to the wind a bit. At the very beginning, it was like, no, I've got to keep it in my mark, I've got to have my lunch. And then by the end, it was like, rip it off, let's go to the pub, come on, let's go. And if I haven't got any lines, you don't even have to glue it, because I'll just keep my mouth shut.
But again, and that was when you could, I don't know, it was just sort of, it just felt it was a good vibe.
Yeah, so you worked with the likes of Nigel Trevesi.
Yes, good old Nigel.
And Christine Glanville, of course. What were they like to work for as a team, or with as a team?
Nigel Trevesi was just like fabulous. He was really great. Great humour, great sense of... he just sort of effortlessly did it all, and he kind of really, and he, I was only like 24, 25, and he was just had such faith in me and was really, he was just...
And that's important, isn't it?
Yeah, faith. And when somebody has faith in you, and the same with Greg, that's when the magic happens,
Because it's kind of empowering in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of, you sort of like, you go, well, this is working, now I can do whatever, I can saw now, I can... I can do, this is working, and they're happy, I'm happy.
I remember Nigel used to get annoyed with me because I used to grow a bit of a beard sometimes.
I used to hate that. And I thought...
Because it's very difficult then to stick
Yes, and I think... I always remember... can you remember the one we did? I can't remember the one, what it was called, but there's a bit where they had the crystals in the head.
Oh, yes.
And you did like the sort of P.T. Barnum
that's
kind
it.
of
Illegal,
character.
I think.
Illegal.
That's a John Glenn episode, I think,
And that was really good. And I remember Nigel was great on that one. And
yeah.
And there was a great photograph somewhere of you and him in the ring somewhere.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Nigel Trapassi was a really wonderful guy.
I often think it's a shame because I didn't really watch Gerry's shows growing up. So I found myself on a set with the likes of Christine Glanville, and I'm ashamed to say I didn't really take advantage of that like I would now, knowing her long history. I mean, she was there, practically at the beginning of the Anderson story.
She was one of the characters in Space Police. She was one of the cats in that. Yeah.
Christine Glanville?
Yes.
Was she? I had no idea.
She was I think she was in there was like a big cat.
Amazing.
And she had like a big sort of suit on.
Yeah.
And she played one of those characters.
Wow. But, she was puppeteering on the likes of Thunderbirds and Fireball, all that,
stuff.
years
but
before.
Again, it was like, she was always, glad to share knowledge and kind of, shows and stuff like that.
You were kind of aware then of now being part of that Anderson story, that lineage.
Yeah, well, because I kind of, again, like when we did the, I think it was Top Gear or something, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I went with Greg and he got a van and we had the Parker and the Lady Penelope puppet. Yeah. We went and picked Christine out, picked the puppets up, and then I met Christine for the first time, and it was just like, and Greg was, he was a big fan of Gerry as well, because I remember him telling me where it was like when they did Terrorhawks, I think it was Gerry phoned him up in his workshop, and he's like, "I'm Gerry Anderson." I was just, it was like, I don't know if you know me or not, and Greg was like, "Oh, yeah, I think I know," sort of played it down. But
yes, that's right.
So
yeah, incredible. Now, I also asked you via an email exchange earlier this week to supply me with your favourite Anderson moments. So I think we've got time now to have a look at a couple of these. Yeah. So let's have a look.
Stand by to take evasive action, Parker.
Yes, milady.
Very specific moment that you mentioned.
Now, milady.
Now, Parker.
Aim, fire.
Just a little bit over to the right, old son. Thank you very much.
There's much point in looking for survivors, Parker.
No, Melania.
That's a bit grim, isn't it?
It's just like, that is just perfect. It's just like brilliant. It's like, again, it's like Lady Penelope. She's this, very youthful, beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And it's like, but don't mess with me, because you'll be sorry.
Yes, well, that's the crew of that helicopter somewhere. That's right, yeah. So let's have some more questions from our viewers and listeners. Then we'll talk a little bit more about our year at Pinewood together. Yeah. And then let's have a little chat about what happened after Space Precinct. Yeah. If you could believe that there is ever life beyond Space Precinct.
Yeah, wow.
Right, let's take a look at these questions here. John Stock says, "Hi Lindsay, nice to see you."
Hello.
In this age of AI and CGI, are you confident that there will continue to be a need for animatronics? I hope you say yes, as it's still the best in my book. Thanks. So how would you define animatronics? How is that different to model work and so on?
Well, I think animatronics is a very, and again, I think you have to have a sort of a feel for it.
Yeah.
And again, I think there's sort of very basic animatronics and then there's very high-tech animatronics.
Right.
But I think sometimes the more basic animatronics works better because you kind of, it's with the actor or the performer.
Yeah.
And it works, like I said before, a sort of symbiotic kind of relationship, and I think if you And again, I think if you have too much animatronics, it sort of turns a puppet or a creature into a sort of grotesque. And it looks weird, you know. And it's when it's just right.
Yeah.
And it's not too overdone.
Yeah.
It works really well.
Yeah. I do remember there was quite a rapport during Space Precinct between Jerome Willis, who played Podley, and Christine.
Yeah, I think Podley.
Yeah.
I think worked so well. You know.
Yes, and it was only right, I think, after half a dozen episodes that Jerome started appearing in the opening credits. I remember.
Yes.
Because what a performance!
Yeah.
What a lovely man. How did you get on with the cast generally? That's not a leading question.
Like I said, I think that you were all fantastic. Really.
What did you make of the Americans? I was rather in awe of them as a young man with Ted and Rob Youngblood.
Yeah, I think they were all great. You know, I think Rob was. You know, Rob always used to call me Cousin George.
Right.
Because I look like his cousin George.
Fair enough.
And I got on well with Rob. And
had a gym in his dressing room, apparently.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I never went in his
No, nor did I. But
obviously,
apparently
we
there
were
was a gym in
privileged
there.
to go in there. But and Ted always seemed very sort of stoic and kind of just, you know, did his thing and was always great, and nice and polite. And it was great.
And he and Jerome struck up quite a friendship. I remember I often heard about them going out for the nights at the theatre and round each other's houses for dinner and so on.
Well, Jerome was a kind of... I always thought Jerome had this sort of... You know, especially when you put the hood on.
Yeah.
I always thought he looked like a medieval knight. He had that sort of air about him. He looked sort of like this sort of crusader. You
Absolutely,
know? Or a sort of medieval knight. He kind of just had that... and the age he was then, I just thought he looked really good, you know. And he just had a really good sort of feel about him.
Yeah,
he just carried it really well.
Yeah, he really did. And he was sort of a lovely presence on set, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
And great for us younger folk to look up to as well.
I think he was a kind of, you know, he's a sort of like one of, obviously for actors and stuff, he'd been there and done it and treaded the boards and all that sort of stuff. And you know, he was never sort of, I've done this before or whatever, you know, because he'd been in quite a few, like Doctor Who and all sorts of stuff. And,
that's right.
You know, I'm always like, oh my God, it's Jerome. You know, like there's a TV series, like, it's Jerome.
That's Jerome.
Or he's in a film or something.
Absolutely, Gary Hodgkinson says, hi, Lindsay.
Hello.
Yeah. What's your favourite model or effect that you've assisted in the creation of? So not just Space Precinct, but let's say ever.
That's a difficult one.
Is it now?
One. Yeah.
I mean, you went on after Space Precinct to work on Walking with Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Was that the TV series or the live
we
event
did the
as well?
TV series.
Which is groundbreaking in its day.
I mean, it was like, I think it was like 6 million and it was like 6 episodes.
Yes.
And it was like,
wow.
You know, that was, I'm really, I mean, very proud of that and Space Precinct and Walking with Beasts and stuff.
Yeah.
But we did a lot of really good animatronics on that, and myself and Greg went out to New Caledonia, and we out in deserts and jungles with these like animatronics and
amazing,
you know. And then you know, there was like in New Caledonia, there was like, you know, people there that, you know, weren't very wealthy, and they, you know, literally the clothes they had, they stood up and that was their clothes.
Yeah,
and the reaction to these dinosaurs or animatronics, but they were just like, wow,
I bet they were.
It's amazing.
Yeah, of course. It was rather like Space Precinct in the early days, at least. It was something that really caught the public's imagination, wasn't it? That series, I remember.
It
made a big splash.
Yeah, it did, and I think it was like the 19th most popular TV show.
Wow.
Back then.
Yeah,
you know. And then I think I did. You know, I went on to do. You know, I worked on like Event Horizon film and obviously worked on Thunderbirds as well.
Right. Okay.
It wasn't my Thunderbirds, but it was great to work on that.
Yeah, sure.
And other stuff. But
so what did you do on the movie, on the Thunderbirds film?
We basically on that, it was lots of sort of. We did lots of interior dressing and stuff like that.
Right, okay. Yeah.
So sort of like interiors of vehicles and things like that. So, and a few props and stuff.
Yeah, Paul Hyder says, hi, Lindsay.
Hello, Paul.
How much of a rapport do you need to have with the actor to make the animatronics work most successfly?
Well, I think you need a pretty good rapport, actually, to, you know, just, as we said, it was like you just go in and go, right, okay, go. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of trust involved in the way, isn't there?
Yeah, you know, and I think it was, again, it was a sort of, you've got to give each other a bit of leeway, you know, and sort of, and again, we weren't given a great amount of time to sort of, it wasn't like we had any rehearsals, was it?
No.
And we sort of went in, okay, rehearse
for the camera
what this character's going to be like for the camera. And
that's it.
Can you do this? Can you do that? It was like literally, right, go.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
but
right.
again, it was, again, you just sort of got into the groove of it. And like I said, that first 2 weeks, I thought, I don't know what you felt, but it was just like...
That was crazy. Double duty, the first episode. I think we shot that over 3 weeks. I think they gave us an extended...
that was the one with the creature in it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the woman that was like... And she'd turned into the creature.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that very vividly.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is a kid's show.
I mean, this is what plagued the series throughout, really.
Yeah.
Who was it made for? Was it for kids or was it for adults? Because sometimes, there was mention of prostitutes and alien porn, and it's like, who's this for?
And then it was like, I mean, the first sort of the first episode we did, it was like creature looked like something out of, Alien.
Absolutely.
And it was like, oh my God, it's like flesh and bones. And, and then I think, it was like, we had these really horrible eye shells that we used to put in.
Yes.
Because I think it was an episode when you sort of died in
that's right,
in
we
the
did.
time travel one,
that's right, by the side.
And I was like, that really creeped me out, those eyes. There was like white eye shells, wasn't it? And then there was like, in the first episode, there was like explosions and gun shoots and blood,
I think, unfortunately,
blood running out under the door.
Yeah. And that was Colin Buxey who directed that first one and was due to stay on as a series director, but I think he rather got the blame for that unfairly. He took the rap.
I think because he was, I think he'd done some Miami Vice or something like that.
And went on to work on Breaking Bad as well. I mean, he's still working on pretty high-profile stuff. Yeah. And he'd shipped his family over from the States and everything.
Yeah, but I mean, I think again, it was a bit like you said. That first episode was very adult, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was like, I think it was like one of those scenes where there's like blood running out under the door and there was blood everywhere. And it was like, what?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Jonathan Bell says, is there a classic Anderson design model that you wish you had worked on? So let's take all the Anderson series. What would you, in a dream world, like to have worked on?
There's two. There's obviously Thunderbird 2.
I knew you were going to say that.
And then obviously, not obviously, but I really love the SPV.
Okay, right.
I think it's a fantastic bit of design.
Yeah, really. Was it the craft, as a kid that kind of really...
I think all of it. I think the whole, thing with the puppets and the, or whatever they were, because it was just a style of filmmaking for me. It wasn't, it wasn't like this is puppets, that's like,
Sure.
And even the live action stuff, it was always, there was a real style, and you'd get them, obviously the eagle and...
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah. So back to our time at L&M, very briefly. I remember... I don't think I can remember a single day where I didn't want to go to work, and I remember, rocking up at Pinewood.
I used to leap out of bed.
Yeah, of course we did, absolutely.
At like 6 in the morning.
That's right. And of course you were there every day. I wasn't. Let's be frank.
And you guys were there. I mean, I think we kind of used to get you in 6:45, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because we were on set at 8.
That's it.
So yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And again, some days it was like you'd have 1 or 2 people, and then other days it'd be like 4 or 5, and it was like
and then some days I remember being called at 7:15, not being used till after lunch.
Yes. Your lip hanging off.
Yeah, that's right.
Picking the sweet corner.
But do you remember? I mean, we know now that it was quite a troubled production. We know that finances weren't as secure as they might have been, and at some point, some points during the year, it seems it was lucky to have limped on at all. Were you aware of that at the time?
Do you know what? I wasn't really aware of that.
Yeah.
I kind of. No, I wasn't at all. I think, like Nigel and Greg or whatever, they never really...
Yeah.
Because they were just like, let's just see what happens. And then, But no, I never got that. Unless I was just... I don't know. No, I wasn't really aware of any of that, really.
Do you remember the feeling of kind of being rather disconsolate as the series went on and it didn't make quite the splash that we'd hoped? I remember hearing from Lou Hirsch, whose mum had seen the series in New York, or hadn't seen it. She'd seen that it was going out at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
and we were all starting to think,
I
really?
think that was the... And I think here it was not a great time. I think, unfortunately... A lot of those series did suffer from a bad timing slot.
Yeah. So it launched pretty much Sky One, I remember. It was one of their first major acquisitions on Sky One. Then it went out on the BBC on Monday evenings on BBC Two, I think.
Yeah, Monday or Tuesday.
I think it was Monday night
at a weird time.
6 o'clock or something.
It was like just before everybody got home from school or something weird.
Yeah.
But
should have been Saturday evening.
Well, yeah, exactly.
In the Doctor Who slot, basically.
Yeah, it should have been. Yeah, exactly that. And I think, because I think Wayne and Richard Gregory went out to do the promoting the show in America.
States, yeah, that's it.
But yeah, I'd heard that what they call the graveyard slot in America, and you go, well, that's not a good sign, is it? But I think, I don't think it deserved the slots it was, because I think, unfortunately, they just didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah,
because I think it was, for the time, it was, what we were doing, and the Star Trek Next Generation, and it was sort of really ambitious, because like the Star Trek ones, they sort of got aliens, but it was all sort of prosthetics and but you didn't have sort of animated aliens and
a whole cast of animated aliens, pretty much.
Cast,
that's right,
every week of animated aliens, and it was like, I was sort of disappointed because I thought it was, a shame that it got that kind of, where it was, it just sort of, it needed a better slot than it did. And it kind of just like, who's going to stay up until 3 o'clock to,
Before we say goodbye, I just want to catch up on the last 30 years. So what are you doing? Highlights, lowlights, and what are you doing with yourself these days?
Well, like I said, I did Walking with Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I did Walking with Beasts. And then, a lot of that was quite a few years doing that. I did some sort of films, sort of, because it was weird time after that. Because I remember when we finished on Space Precinct, I had PSB, which is post Space Precinct Blues.
Fair enough. I think we all did for a while.
I sort of was like,
and also yearning for the second series.
Yeah.
Well, come on, then. When's that gonna, come on, I'm ready.
I was like, what? How, I was like, then it was sort of like there was this sort of bit of a hangdog feeling. There wasn't really a lot going on because the film industry was quite sort of low and quiet at that point.
Right.
I know they'd done like First Night when we were doing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I think they did. What was the other one they were doing?
There was Mary Riley, something
like that. Yeah,
Jekyll and Hyde.
There was like only 3 films.
Yeah.
So I sort of there was a little bit of a break when I wasn't, and then I did some bit of prosthetic stuff, helping them do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then again, like I said, then it was like, we did the, I did Event Horizon.
Yeah.
I did some stuff on that.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of stuff went abroad.
Uh-huh.
So I was out in Prague for about 6 months.
Nice.
And I went to, then I was in Luxembourg, and I was out there doing stuff. And then, I sort of kind of just got on a few feature films and stuff like that. Did a couple of Bonds and things like that.
Did you now?
So, it was all kind of good, really.
Yeah.
But at the minute, I'm sort of not doing a great deal at the minute, but I think the film industry is just a bit quiet at the minute.
Oh, it's terrible, yeah. Yeah, I've never known anything like it, really.
Yeah.
Right, well, that's all for now. Thank you so much for joining us, Lindsay.
It's been a pleasure.
Great to relive all those L&M block
I could,
times.
you could write a book on it. Or,
Well, I've done that. Don't write a book on it.
You could, you could go on forever about the Jolly James that we got.
Fantastic. We must have you back. That's what we must do.
No, it's good.
Great to see you. Thanks for joining us, Lindsay Harris.
Thank you.